Is this recording? Great. I don't know. Guess I was just thinking about things, and I figured that I might as well put in a video. Sometimes I just, I feel like, this is a very universal feeling, right? I'm not saying this is exclusive to me, because it's not, but, things get really difficult, and kind of trying to navigate how to deal with that difficulty is not always very easy. And right now I'm at a point in my life where I have a lot of things that I'm juggling. Maybe a bit more than I really should right now, since I'm like, I don't know. And I think it's important to remember that when you are experiencing these things where you're like juggling a lot, you have to remember that you are not perfect, and that's okay, right? The expectation of being perfect, I mean, that's an unnecessary, unachievable, and impossible goal. Kind of trying to center your entire life around being the perfect specimen, or being the perfect, say, athlete, your perfect musician, perfect anything, it's not ideal, right? Because when we live with that expectation of, oh, if I'm not perfect, then what am I, right? Well, you kind of you're putting yourself into this little hole, and it's kind of like it's not really something you want to do to yourself, right? It's not really good for you, for your kind of mental well-being long term. And I guess I'm partly saying this because I do this myself, right? I'm a student athlete, and because I really love my sport, I want to do stuff outside of like my school so I can get better. But I also really, want to be a really good student, so I can obviously get jobs. Also because I just love studying, I love learning, right? And sometimes what happens is we kind of forget that it's okay to not know where we are for a moment, and kind of being lost. I mean, for a moment, that's not a bad thing, right? As long as you know how to get back up. It's okay to fall down. It's okay to have your days where you're not feeling great. It's okay to fail. It's okay to not get what you want all the time. Because that's what the success is about, right? So yeah, I guess I just mostly say this because like I said, I don't know, I'm very busy sometimes, and a lot on my mind, with school, fencing, and my job, and I'm kind of just trying to figure out my own place in the world, I guess. But I mean, it's kind of one of those things you just gotta can't really worry too much about it, right? You kind of just gotta let yourself grow into yourself, right? You can't force growth, and I guess it's kind of scary because you don't know what's gonna happen, right? You don't know how things can play out. Something I like to do when I'm stressed out is this is more specific and instantaneous moments. So like, let's say I'm about to compete, right, or I'm about to we do something like an exam. Meditation helps too, but what I do in the moment, right, is I like to kind of feel my abdomen with my body, right, like kind of like center my mind around that kind of part of my body, because that's kind of where a lot of the tension comes in, through like breathing and etc. And so I'll think about kind of the tension in my stomach, and I'll realize, oh wait, I'm not really breathing efficiently because I'm nervous. And because I'm nervous, and because I'm not breathing efficiently, I'm becoming more nervous. So I like to kind of just I like to take slow, deep breaths, and it usually calms me down. And it's important to kind of find that thing that'll like reground you, because it's so easy to get kind of detached from everything and to kind of just become overwhelmed with things, right? Especially if we don't really take care, I guess. So that's, I guess, my little thing, right? Kind of don't let yourself worry too much about things, right? Kind of enjoy life, because you're not gonna experience these things again. I was kind of thinking, actually, I feel like life kind of in a way is like a movie, right? It's where like the first time you watch a movie, hold on, it's one lightsaber. The first time you watch a movie, it's kind of like you know, everything's kind of, you know, amazing, right? Everything's new. Everything's like, wow, you know. Let's just assume it's a good film, right? And every single scene, it's like, wow, you know, this is wow. I didn't know that was gonna happen, or, you know, you're just very intrigued by everything. Everything kind of interests you, right? In a way where like it kind of keeps you absorbed, or, you know, kind of in there, right? In that scene. But, you know, it's kind of like sorry, I just lost my train of thought for a second. Yeah, but with a film, it's kind of like, you know, when you're stuck in those moments where in a film, it's like you're in moments where like you don't know what's gonna happen next, and every scene is new, right? Everything's new and enjoyable. But when you watch the movie a second time, I mean, not that it can't be as enjoyable or more enjoyable, but it's not really as spontaneous, right? It's not like, oh, I didn't know that was gonna happen. Oh, plot twist, right? The plot twist is no longer a plot twist, and it's just like, or rather, it's not really surprise, right? Things kind of become already known. And so I guess my analogy is that life is kind of similar, right? It's like, you know, I guess if ignoring the fact that everything's kind of, you know, like life is kind of one of those things that happen once, of course. But every moment that you experience is unique in itself, right? Especially when it's the first of its kind, right? Let's say it's like the first time, you know, you won your game, first time you got an A, an exam, whatever, right? Like things like that. Right? That first time is kind of like one of those things where it's spontaneous, and it's like kind of like it has that wow kind of feeling, right? It's like, right? But when you experience it again, it's not really wow anymore. It's like, oh, okay, cool, right? And so I guess what I'm trying to say is, right, like, you gotta really appreciate those wows, I guess. I don't know, because you can't really go back and re-feel that exact same feeling in that exact same way, that exact same scenario. So maybe I'm just yapping a little bit too much, but I think this is a very overly complicated way of saying enjoy every moment that you have, because, you know, it's not always gonna be the first time, right? And, you know, sometimes you might not even experience that time again, right? That moment, whether you're lucky enough to experience it again or not. It may be the only time you experience it with that exact feeling. And the same goes to, like, let's say meeting people, right? Sometimes, like, you're really kind of enthralled by somebody, you're really kind of you know, somebody kind of brings you a lot of positive feelings, positive memories, or like whatever, and it's like you don't really know when the last time is the last time, right? And goodbye can be the last time you see somebody, right? That one goodbye could be the last time. And so it's kind of like, you gotta cherish every moment, right? Given that we know this, right? Like, you know, if we assume everything's like spontaneous, you know, because my perspective on things is of course going to be different than everybody else's, but if you assume every moment spontaneous and kind of like unique in a sense, in its own kind of value, it's kind of like you gotta kind of appreciate these small things, right? You gotta appreciate everything. Yeah. That's my roommate. Zach. Zach. Yeah. Alright, I think I'm done recording. Yeah. No, but I don't know, I'm just yapping. Per usual. I don't know. I don't really have much else to give outside of that. I'm just a stressed 18-year-old. That's about it. Have a nice day. See you guys.